Schools are meant to be sanctuaries of hope, places where the new generation is shaped, where futures are built brick by brick, lesson by lesson. But even within these walls, evil can seep in quietly, like a shadow that no one notices until it is too late. At Windhoek International School, in the heart of Namibia's capital, the shadow did not come from the outside. It walked among the staff, smiled in meetings, and managed the very funds meant for the children's education. Her name is Maria Johanna Coetzee. By the year 2018, she was 52 years old and held the keys to the school's financial kingdom. But behind her respectable title of financial manager, there was a storm, one that would strip the school of millions and leave a scar that would take years to heal. Maria had a secret addiction. Online gambling had its claws sunk deep into her, turning every moment of weakness into a desperate, destructive chase for the next win. She was supposed to manage the school's money, but instead, she began gambling with its future. The story begins in March 2018. Coetzee had already started transferring funds, disguised as legitimate payments, into accounts under her control. It was a cold, calculated deception. Instead of sending money to Inland Revenue or the Social Security Commission, the transfers quietly landed in her personal bank accounts. Payment by payment, the school's finances began to bleed. By October 2018, she had successfully transferred more than $2,800,000 Namibian dollars from the school's bank account. Another 6 transactions, totaling over $77,000, were attempted but failed. Still, the sheer scale of what she managed to take was staggering. A sample of the fraudulent transfers painted a grim picture of how deeply she had dipped into the school's funds. There was $136,518 Namibian dollars sent to AFPF. Another $495,108 that was supposed to go to Inland Revenue. $343,371 to Met Health. Even smaller amounts were manipulated, like $48,204 to loan accounts at Nedbank and $14,686 to the Social Security Commission. But it didn't stop there. $39,570 was quote-unquote paid to the city of Windhoek, $5,770 to Bank Windhoek, and another $149,000 again to AFPF. In total, multiple payments, hundreds of thousands at a time, were diverted. One of the largest chunks included over $536,000 Namibian dollars, which was disguised as a tax payment, but instead landed in her personal account. When confronted by the school's board chairman, Maria admitted what she had done. She transferred $194,000 back to the school's account on the same day, and another $10,000 the following day, but it was just a drop in the ocean. The damage was already done. The months that followed were a spiral of consequences. The school terminated her employment and scrambled to recover the funds. By early 2019, only $200,000 had been recovered. The rest, lost to the cold, merciless void of online gambling platforms.
Online betting is booming!
Maria was free on bail, set at $10,000 Namibian dollars. But in May 2020, when she was expected to appear at a pre-trial hearing in Windhoek High Court, she vanished. It was as if she had evaporated into the thin Namibian air. In reality, she had fled across the border into South Africa. For years, she remained beyond the reach of Namibian authorities until 2023, when Interpol in Pretoria tracked her down. She was arrested, and by March of the following year, a court in Cape Town ruled that she would be extradited back to Namibia to face justice. When Maria was brought back to Namibia on the 29th of August, 2024, she was no longer the shadowy figure hiding in the distance. She was a woman cornered, her secrets now public. Her trial was set to begin on the 12th of May, 2025. In the courtroom, Coetzee no longer denied her actions. On the 13th of May, she pleaded guilty to most of the charges. Her voice trembled as she spoke about the demons that drove her. My guilty plea explanation for these wrongful and unlawful transfers is as follows. I was suffering from long-standing mental illnesses such as post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar depression and anxiety, and then I became addicted to online gambling. I gambled and lost much of the money that was transferred into my personal bank accounts, she said, her words filling the hushed courtroom. She went on to describe how, from March to October of 2018, she was not only in mental turmoil, but also physically unwell. She had been diagnosed with the Epstein-Barr virus and had undergone major spinal surgery, suffering from fever, swelling, headaches, and fatigue that left her increasingly isolated. My physical medical condition caused me to have symptoms like loss of concentration and pain. The self-isolation worsened my bipolar depression, and I started gambling online, trying to replace feelings of loneliness and hopelessness with euphoria. I tried to stop, but it spiraled out of control. With every loss, I was hoping to win back what I had lost, she confessed. Experts say this kind of spiral is not uncommon. A 2019 study by the National Council on Problem Gambling found that individuals with underlying mental health conditions, such as depression and trauma, are twice as likely to develop gambling addictions. Gambling offers the illusion of control, a momentary high that masks the deeper pain. Clinical psychologist Dr. Luke Clark, a leading researcher on gambling disorders, calls this phenomenon a neurological tug of war between despair and reward.
Problem gambling has been recognized as a disorder since 1980.
For Maria, online gambling wasn't just entertainment. It was a coping mechanism, a digital escape route from a collapsing reality. Researchers have compared gambling addiction to substance abuse, noting that the dopamine rush from placing bets activates the same reward pathways in the brain as drugs or alcohol. In fact, a paper in the Journal of Behavioral Addictions describes gambling as a silent, invisible addiction, fueled by both the thrill of risk and the desperate hope to undo one's own losses. In Maria's case, this desperation collided with access to funds she was meant to safeguard. The money from Windhoek International School became the fuel for her addiction. Every transfer into her personal accounts wasn't just theft, it was another spin of the digital roulette wheel, another attempt to claw back control over a life that had spiraled far beyond her grasp. Her words did little to soften the facts. Between March and October 2018, she stole money meant for children's education. Her addiction, her illnesses, her suffering, all of it had left Windhoek International School with a gaping wound. The funds that were meant for teachers, classrooms, and the future of hundreds of students had vanished. As the court listened, Deputy Prosecutor General Tangeni Itula outlined the full scale of her crimes. The state's case was ironclad, supported by every transfer, every bank record, every electronic breadcrumb she had left behind. Maria's story is not just one of fraud. It is a chilling reminder of how evil can wear an ordinary face and walk the halls of even the most respected institutions. It is a story of how addiction, unchecked and relentless, can turn a trusted manager into the architect of a school's financial nightmare. And now, as she stands trial in Windhoek High Court, the final chapter of this story is being written, not by her, but by the justice system she tried to outrun.
And so, as Maria Coetzee awaits her sentencing, one question remains. How many more stories like this are still hiding behind spreadsheets and smiling faces? How many trusted figures are one bad day, one unchecked addiction, or one overlooked loophole away from turning schools, hospitals, and public offices into personal casinos? What do you think drives someone to take that first step into fraud? Is it greed, desperation, mental illness, or all of them mixed together? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found the story as chilling as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who cares about justice and accountability in our society. Hit the bell so you never miss a story that digs deeper than the headlines. Until next time, stay sharp and stay questioning.
There is risk with online gambling, and that's a reality nobody's shouting about.